Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this December 7th version of AM Live on EOA. Your connection to Eastern Oregon, and we're a part of the EOA network.
Yep.
How are you, man?
I'm great.
Yeah.
It's first Friday.
First Friday. You have any plans for the weekend?
Milenberg tournament.
Oh, that's right.
Gonna go take pictures.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I didn't get to take pictures at it last year. I don't remember
Yeah.
what happened, but I'm gonna get up there and get some wrestling pictures because they don't have a lot of home tournaments.
No.
Home matches for wrestling, EOU or the high school.
Huh.
It just seems like there's one or two every
Yeah,
year.
you're right. The matches themselves, and so then if you want to watch wrestling at home, that's kind of it.
Yeah, Milenberg. I mean, the Milenberg is a lot of wrestling, though. I mean, you got to win 4 or 5 times to win that tournament. So
Yeah,
should be good.
It's been several years since I was there, but I was amazed at the size of that tournament.
Yeah, and it's shrunk.
Has it
It's
shrunk
shrunk
quite a bit?
considerably since COVID. Yeah, I remember. I mean, it used to be one of the. I mean, and I'm not saying it's not anymore, but it used to be one of the big tournaments in the whole state.
Yeah.
It's kind of shrunk when LeGrand dropped down to 4A.
Right.
And they started 6A. It kind of
Yeah.
took some of the bigger schools out of the
Yeah.
tournament. They don't really come as much anymore, but it's still a huge tournament. It's very prestigious.
Well, and I just didn't know about the mechanics of a wrestling tournament.
Oh, it's crazy. Try following it when you're not at a wrestling tournament.
Yeah.
Like when I don't get to go to my son's.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Following it on
Yeah, I
online.
mean, I think there's like
Oh.
six matches at one time going on, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
the state tournament, there's 15.
yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. You just have to hope that the schedule on here is right. You know what I mean?
Well, I remember years and years ago they talked about streaming it or being involved, and I'm like, how would you even? I mean, I know.
You'd have to just shoot from up top.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to do it.
You just do a wide shot, and you just know that this is your person wrestling,
Yeah. I think the state tournament, I'm pretty sure they do every mat.
Yeah.
But they're putting that all up on Flow, and then the finals, obviously they're gonna stream the finals. But man, wrestling tournaments are crazy, and you can't predict how long a wrestling tournament's gonna be, because all the matches could go 3 rounds, or they could all be first round pin. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
you never really know.
Right.
It's crazy.
The volleyball, I watched the girls. Well, I watched part of the game that they lost, and that was the first professionally shot volleyball game that I've ever.
It was good. It was really well done.
It was, yeah. I mean, they had an announcer and color and instant replays, and
Yeah, it was really well done.
Yeah.
The EOU does a really good job. You should watch their
no,
feed
they do.
sometime.
I did watch. Yeah, I mean, Gibb does an excellent job.
I've been lobbying with Gibb to get a net camera.
One of those cameras.
Yeah, the one that's right on the
Yeah.
net that goes straight across, because
Yeah.
that's a cool angle too.
It is a cool. Yeah.
It's very cool. And then Gibb just has college kids, whether
Yeah.
they're grad assistants or they just hire athletes to come in and run the cameras.
Yeah. Well, and I guess, I mean, I just I'd never heard a game announced ever, and that was the commentary, which is not, it just filled in
Yeah, we don't
blanks
commentate. We don't commentate volleyball anymore at EOU.
Yeah.
Nobody does it. It's really hard. You have to know the game
Right,
really well
right.
to commentate.
Yeah, and
volleyball.
that was what, I mean, I just learned a lot about the game just listening to the commentators, because I'd never, so.
Yep, definitely.
Well, you want to do sports?
Let's do it.
All right.
AM Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit. There's still time to get your advent calendars, and they have a lot of really cool advent calendars down there. They got games. They have, anything that you need for your hobbyisms or whatever you want to call it. Go check out Hobby Habit just for the fun of it. LeGrand girls basketball is at home tonight versus Fruitland. That'll tip off at 6 p.m. The boys don't play again until Saturday in Baker at 11:30. The girls also play in Baker on Saturday at 11. They must be playing in 2 different gyms. It wasn't specified, but they obviously aren't going to have 2 games in one gym at the same time. The girls are currently 2-1 on the season, and the boys are looking for their first win. LeGrand boys and girls wrestling is at home. We just talked about that. The Meilenberg tournament this weekend is it's a huge tournament, a lot of prestige, like I said earlier, and it's a fun watch. So if you haven't gotten to a live wrestling event, or if you're thinking about it, go check it out. It's great, and LeGrand has really good wrestling. I mean, our high school boys and girls teams, Kalella and Crystal, are doing a great job. And they're solid. They really are. I mean, we're looking at another chance at a state championship both ways. EOU men's wrestling has a duel with Providence in Great Falls, Montana today at 6. They're currently 3-1 in duels this year, and they're looking to improve on that. We'll see. Providence is a pretty good team. The CCC is the toughest conference in the country for wrestling, for men and women. I mean, you across the board, there's always 5-6 teams ranked, and the CCC's they just beat up on each other all year. It should be a good match today. EOU men's and women's basketball, back to them real quick. They go to C of I this Saturday in the I-84 rivalry. It's the travel partner week. The women kick off at 3. Men kick off at 4. They both had rough weekends this last weekend in the long Southern Oregon trip. Both teams lost both of their games to OIT and SOU, so they'll be looking for some redemption. And man, it wouldn't be anything sweeter than to beat C of I. I would love that. My predictions for the EOU volleyball national tournament, all tournament team were correct. Sophomore Kira Vaughn and senior Sade Williams were both selected to the all-tournament team, and both very much deserving. I mean, great seasons for both of them. The cool thing is we get Kara back next year, and she's only a sophomore. We have a very young team. I mean, if you really look at it, we only had 5 seniors. And the team is, I mean, young. We have the freshman of the year, Miley Mills. She's coming back. You know, and Khaki just stacks it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Every girl on that team is close in skill level. So you're just going to see people pop up. And Kira's one of them. She just popped up early. You know what I mean? She came onto the scene towards the end of the year here. And, I mean, she's been playing all year, but not at the level that she has the last probably month and a half of the season. Just been playing lights out, and you see it right there. She had 27 kills in the quarterfinals, and I want to say like 13. So she had 40 kills in 2 games.
Wow.
In the quarterfinals and the semifinals, and that's big time right there.
Yeah.
When you're on that stage right there, you're on ESPN. You know, like
right.
it's a little bit different. You know,
yeah.
The pressure's different. So.
Right.
Hats off to both of them. That was what an awesome tournament for those ladies, and just hopefully next year we can, you know, keep this streak going and get back to the I mean, the cool part about it too was like I said on Tuesday, how much the community got behind this team.
Right.
It's and it's deserving. I mean, Khaki's worked their butt off with this team to put it in a position where it's gonna, you know, vie for a national championship every year. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're right back in the same place next year.
Yeah.
Morning Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit, just for the fun of it.
Yeah. No, and I think that part of it, I don't know if we were just publicly, we were more aware. I mean, part of that is because of us. You talked about it quite a bit. But I mean, still, Benchwarmers having it.
Yep.
And the local, and you know, so.
Well, yeah. Scarfo came up to me at Benchwarmers like, I can't believe how many people watched that reel that you put up.
Yeah.
I was like, you're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, so it just just generally, people were more aware.
Yeah. The local was packed, Benchwarmers was packed, McKenzie was packed.
Yeah.
But if you went to a game this year, they were packed. I mean, even when school was out during Thanksgiving break, packed. I mean, it's just people have latched on. I mean, that's what happens when you have a team that makes it to the national semis 2 years in a row.
Yeah. Yep, and it'll be that same way next year too.
Oh, it'll be.
And it's so funny because people in my Rotary group that I didn't even know. I mean, they're just, retired folks, retired couples are like, yeah, we go to every game. We go to.
There's a bunch of loyals. Well, and there's a group of people that go to all of EOU's sport. You know what I mean?
Right.
Retired people that are, most of them boosters, and they they're loyal EOU fanatics, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Lee Wright is probably the biggest EOU
right there.
fan on the planet. I'm not joking. He's at every game. He buys the season pass for all sports.
Yeah.
And he's always there early. Like, we're talking a half an hour to an hour early.
That's funny.
He knows all the girls, talks to the, you know what I mean? Like, he's, you know what I mean? He's part of that EOU culture. He appears more than Monty the Mountie. Which funny. Monty the Mountie doesn't ever show up.
Yeah.
So. Monty the Mountie needs to get fired.
Does he?
Yeah, he don't ever come to any games. And I know why. They can't find anybody to do it. But the reality of it is when you go to college games, their mascot is there.
You know what's funny is when you see other college mascots on big football games or whatever the case might be. I mean, they got the moves. Whatever.
They're always athletes. They're always.
They have figured out how to manipulate that suit so that it looks cool.
Those big schools, though, like Oregon, that duck makes good money. I guarantee.
Oh, I would
you
imagine.
That
Yeah.
And like the BYU Cougar, the duck does push-ups, but the BYU Cougar does push-ups on stacked tables.
Really?
And jumps from one level to the next. and these a lot of times they're obviously athletes, but a lot of times they're gymnasts.
Yeah. Well, and if you got paid enough, you would make it worth the while to endure the heat or the suit or whatever.
Absolutely. If you were especially for a college kid, like you pay them, $500 to go to a game, or maybe a little bit more even.
Yeah.
Like,
who knows?
Hey, go. Well, college football especially is big money. You know that.
Yeah.
You saw that when we went to the Boise State game.
Yeah.
And what's $500, $1,000 if he's going to go, impress a bunch of people and make it a good time, take pictures with the kids.
Yeah. So I heard some whiff. You'll know about this, and something that at the college level they're wanting to start another division and they actually pay the athletes.
Yeah, they're talking about it.
Do you know what that is about?
I don't know a lot about it. I've seen it, but I didn't look into it because they're basically getting paid right now.
Right.
So it doesn't really matter. The NIL deals, you got guys that are making millions of dollars to play a year of college football or basketball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they're making that through they're selling their image, right?
Yeah. But I mean, it really doesn't matter. Like when it boils down to it, if the school's paying them, well, you saw University of Utah. Their booster club bought every scholarship player on the team a brand new Ford truck. Brand new.
Wow.
Here you go.
Wow.
You know what I mean? If it does come to that, so be it. I wish, what I wish they would do? I wish they would go back and address, like, Reggie Bush is the perfect example. He won the Heisman at USC. He took like $300,000 under the table. He took his Heisman away. He just made it into the College Football Hall of Fame. Yeah. Give the kid his Heisman back. It didn't affect his on-the-field play.
Yeah.
I mean, the Heisman is the most prestigious award in college football.
Right. Yeah.
Give it back to him. Like, it didn't affect how he played football. He's one of the greatest college football players ever. And anybody will argue that.
Yeah.
And just give it back. He wasn't even allowed on the campus for 10 years. He was working with like CBS or NBC and wasn't even allowed on USC's campus for 10 years.
Wow.
And he made that school millions and millions of dollars off of people buying his jersey, and you know what I mean? And it's crazy to me. Like, just, you know what I mean? Give them the Heisman, give the kids the money. They're going out there risking their bodies. If they're making you money as a school, pay them. Well, it's that simple.
That's the thing that has changed is the amount of money they're making for schools.
It's crazy.
And the television rights.
It's been like that for quite some time.
Right.
It's more now, but even 40 years ago, these guys were making money for their schools.
Yeah.
Just by getting people through the door. You know what I mean? The Oregon quarterback, Bo Nix, he's a Heisman finalist. He was the offensive player of the year of the Pac-12. He's not going to win the Heisman, I don't think. But imagine how much money he's made Oregon in the last year. Right. You know what I mean? Like, just it's crazy. It's like give the kids a little chunk of it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what comes. I mean, I like I said, I don't care if they decide to or not, as long as the kids are getting taken care of and they're, could you imagine being say, a mid-level? So you're probably going to get drafted in the second or third round. You're playing for Oregon or wherever, Oregon State, whatever. You get hurt and you can't play football anymore.
Right.
That's your hope. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're out there playing for the school, making them money. You get hurt, and then your football career is over, and you never get to cash in, and you have to actually go work whatever job you're getting your degree in and make way less money.
Yeah.
Pay them. It's that simple.
I watched a Netflix documentary the other night on, he's the running back who quit his career early.
Barry Sanders.
Yeah, super interesting. And
one of the best ever.
Yeah, and this was, he quit at the age of 31, something like that, 32.
Yeah. He didn't want his body to be.
He'd been on only 10 years, yeah. And this documentary is, he reassembles, they interview him to find out, because for a long time it was like a mystery of why did you quit? Because he faxed his resignation. And, yeah, and so anyhow. But
no, he was on a crappy team and didn't want to get hurt. Wanted to preserve his body.
Yeah,
that's simple.
But that was super. I'm not sure where that point was going, except that it was just really.
He would have been. He was a great, arguably, like right there with Reggie Bush as one of the best college football players ever at Oklahoma State.
Yeah,
he would have made a ton of money in college too if they were paying kids like they should have.
Yeah, and that was it was funny because he won the Heisman, and at the time his family didn't even really understand what the Heisman was or how significant it was. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, and his team, that was the other thing. Funny. When he won the Heisman, his team didn't really think that he was in the running. And they scheduled a game in France or something like that. Huh. And so he was totally out of the country.
I haven't seen it.
Really interesting, really well done. So anyhow, let's take a look outside.
Let's look at the weather.
And there it is.
It's not too cold.
Yeah. It's been, all over the national weather you hear about the rain. What do they call it? The something river, the atmospheric river or something like that. They got a name for everything now. And so like up in Washington area, there's just a ton of rain and stuff. And we're not seeing that, but maybe we will. And so then for the next, what's the weather for today? 45 high.
Not horrible.
No. But it looks
32,
like
32 the low. It's going to get down to freezing.
Yeah.
And then the next few days, 37. Oh, it's going to get colder tomorrow night, 23.
Yeah.
Well, they got they were struggling getting the warming station open, but I see like it's been open a couple times.
Well, and I had heard, I didn't know that. I just presumed that they were open, but I guess maybe they're having troubles filling with the staffing part of it and stuff.
Yeah, to finding volunteers. I always look at it like this: you can't even hardly find people to work. How are you going to find people to volunteer?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You can't even find people to work for money. Like you think it's going to be an easy job to find volunteers? Probably not.
Well, and it's not an easy job.
No, we talked with Chief Bell.
Yeah.
A couple days ago, and he said that a person got kicked out the night before for physical violence or whatever. And I'm sure you have to. How do they make sure? Do they do background checks on the people that are staying there? They can't possibly, right?
No.
So how do you keep? How do they keep that safe? You know what I mean? Like, what about like sex offenders or violent criminals? Like, how do you make sure?
Well, I think they have. It'd be a good question, but I think they have separate spaces, or maybe almost like
for men and women.
They have separate spaces for men and women. I do know that. Yeah.
But still, I mean, just because
Right.
you're,
right.
it doesn't mean that you know, if you're a violent criminal or a sex offender, that you won't offend against your own sex.
Right. Right. No, I don't know. I don't know how they. I mean, and that would be part of the complication of it is how do you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a heavy lift.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's got to be tough.
Yeah.
And then what kind of we had people from the warming station on one time, didn't we?
It's been like during COVID. It's been a while. We should have somebody on though.
And I just ask them these questions,
Yeah.
like, how are you training these people? Like, what do they, you know, what do they have to have in order to be able to staff? You know what I mean? Because, you know, things obviously, Chief said that there was a physical altercation. Like, how are you preparing these staff for that?
Yeah. Well, and didn't the person who got kicked out, weren't they banging on the front door here or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, and I thought it was really. I mean, I really enjoyed the conversation with Jason Hayes,
Yeah.
the lieutenant, police chief lieutenant, because he he really answered some questions that I've kind of had in my head about mental health and the status of where we are, and
You can tell he cares about LeGrand.
he does.
Totally.
Yeah.
Big time. I mean, and that's what we need in leadership for especially those kind of jobs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
where people's safety and well-being is, you know, in their hands, basically. Not, I don't want to say in their hands,
No,
but you know what I mean?
But
Like,
yeah, you're interacting with the public all the time.
all the time.
And
all the time.
Yeah, and both of them are at a level when they're not as much, but still, the way they treat people filters down.
It's a direct reflection
Yeah,
onto their
right.
officers.
Yeah. And so, and I like both of them a great deal, and especially, really super interesting that they knew each other as kids and grew up together.
Yeah, it's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
And just think about the I want to say like maybe like the preparedness, like how much it prepared them to go through COVID too. Like
Right.
just all the issues and stuff going on with COVID and the stuff with Max Square, how much that's, you know, pushed them to be better leaders and to you know, learn how to deal with diversity, especially in a small community that historically isn't real diverse when it came to that. I mean, when you look at like when I was a kid, homeless people didn't show their face. I've told you this before.
Right,
Like the homeless people lived out behind the baseball fields back there before they knocked all that down. There was trees back there, and it was a pride thing back then. Like you didn't, if you were homeless, you didn't want people to see you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now it's just right in your face. You know?
Yeah. It's the people that we have, and Chief Bell referred to this a couple of times before. We talked about, you know, the incident at the hospital where the guy jumped off the crane.
Yeah.
And those, you just imagine all of those people together who have known each other a long time in an incident. You know, the advantage of those two and the fire chief.
Yeah.
His name escapes me right now, but
Emmett.
Yeah, Cornford. Yeah. I mean, those guys have known each other for
30 years, 40 years.
all of them.
Yep.
Yeah, and just you get in an event like that, you'd be like, you would just know how each other think without even communicating, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well,
I got some would you rather questions for you, BC.
cool.
Since
And
we
I got
don't have a
some
guest today.
trivia for you.
Would you rather be a kid your whole life or an adult your whole life?
Probably a kid.
Yeah, me too. 100%. Huh?
Yeah, but the funny thing is when you are a kid, you want to be an adult. You have no idea, you know, so you don't really have the context of knowing that I'd like to be a kid.
I'd still want to be a kid. Like, I don't want to do laundry. I don't want to clean bathrooms. Would you rather be the cowboy riding the bull or the clown who distracts it? The rodeo
clown.
I don't know. That's a tough one.
The clown. I mean, you know, presuming that that along with that, I get the athletic ability that those guys have.
Oh yeah, but the riders are just as athletic. I mean, you have to be in great shape to.
They are.
To ride. I don't know what. I think I'd rather be the bull rider. There's a little more prestige. And
I have an interview. I mean, it's I've never used it in a can. It's still in the can of a championship clown.
Rodeo clown.
But what are they? They don't call them clowns. They call them bullfighters or bull.
They call them rodeo clowns.
Rodeo clowns, yeah. But it seems like they have a more official. Anyhow, super interesting.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
and just the and what's really interesting, I always admire people that when an event happens, when something bad happens, they run toward the fire rather than running away. I mean, you just admire those kind of people,
Yeah.
And
that's what those guys do.
And that is, yeah. And whenever you see a cowboy get hung up some way,
The
I mean, they
clown
just
is
like
right
boom.
there, yeah.
Yeah.
Smacking that thing, trying to get it away from the
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
All right. Would you rather have a Texas accent and live in New York, or a New York accent and live in Texas?
I would say Texas and New York.
You wouldn't get made fun of as much, I don't think.
Well, I don't know. It did I guess I don't know. That's a good question. How about you?
I'd probably take the Texas and New York.
Yeah.
Probably be a little more accepted, I would think. Because if you're a New Yorker and you move to Texas, you
kind of got a target on your back.
Yeah, it's not gonna be. Would you rather spend a week in the woods without a tent or a night in a real haunted house? A week in the woods with no tent, or a night in a real haunted house?
Probably in the woods without a tent.
I'm going in the haunted house.
Are you?
I'm not going in the woods without a tent. There's bears and all kinds of crap out there.
Oh, I see.
A haunted house.
I hadn't thought about the
No.
predators that might get
no
you.
way.
Well, the thing about it is that the very first when I first got married, years and years ago when I was young, and I had this romantic idea of like, oh, good, we get to go camping, and we bought a tent and the whole 9 yards, and then we get out. We were living in Idaho, and we get out, and finally get ready to go to sleep, and I realized that I cannot see a thing. I mean, you're like, even if there was a bear, you'd have no warning until he was ripping at your.
Maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah. So I was like, so the tent, in my mind, like right then I figured out that, the tent has no protection whatsoever.
My ex was big on camping. Me, not so much.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go sleep on the rocks. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we always had a nice, mattress and everything, but like, man, we used to camp at the Oregon coast a lot, and it doesn't matter what time of year, pretty much. If it's not the middle of summer, you're getting wet over there.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's that mist. And I'm not a fan of just being cold and wet all the time. No. Would you rather know the date of your death or the cause of your death?
The date.
I'd rather know the cause.
Really?
There'd be too much anxiety if you knew when you were going to die. If I knew the cause and just didn't know when it was going to happen, I'm good with that. But if I knew like the date when it was going to happen, I'd be so anxious. You know what I mean? Like you'd be so dang anxious all the way up until then. It wouldn't even be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to know. Yeah, I'd like to know. I mean, I'd just like to know to prepare to be like, So it's, what's funny about that, and I think I've mentioned this before, is like when I was in kindergarten or, elementary school, young elementary school, I remember calculating somewhere along the line that somebody said, well, yeah, you can retire when you're, in your mid 60s. And
85 nowadays.
And so I calculated that'd be 2025, and it's like, so my entire life was like, I'm probably going to live till 2025. And it's like,
now you're like,
that's
I
man.
I better hold on. Hold on.
Yeah, because when you're 8 years old, that's an eternity away. You know?
But now it's
Now it's like,
a
that's
year
next
away.
year. That's the year after next. Yeah.
We're almost 2024.
We're almost to 20, yeah.
All right, I got a couple more. Would you rather solve world hunger or cure cancer?
Solve world hunger.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think they already have something that's.
I was going to say, that's what I was going to ask you was, do you think they have a cure for cancer? And
Well, maybe not quite the cure, but I think they're probably really close.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who think that it's already out there and it's just being suppressed because there's too much money being made on cancer treatment.
Could be.
And that's kind of a pessimistic way of looking at the world, but.
Two more.
Okay.
Would you rather be the worst player on a winning team or the best player on a losing team?
The worst player on a winning team.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I want to win, period.
Yeah.
I'd rather be the worst player on the winning team all day long. That's
Yeah.
an easy one. Last one. Would you flip a coin if heads meant you get $1 billion, but tails meant that you died instantly?
No.
You wouldn't? You wouldn't risk it? I don't think I would either. Maybe if I I don't know. Maybe if I was like 80.
Yeah, right. If you're at the very
75?
end, if you
Go
know
out
you're
with
going
a
to die
bang.
in a certain amount of time anyhow.
Yeah. I might do it, but probably not.
Yeah.
That's all I got for you.
All right. Well, hey, I got some sports trivia.
Oh
for
gosh,
you.
I'm gonna be terrible at this.
Yeah. Okay.
How hard you make it?
It's not.
Fire away.
I mean, I couldn't get them, but you probably, which two countries have not missed one of the modern day Olympics? Which two countries have never missed? And that's a pretty hard one.
A modern day Olympics?
The modern day Olympics, yeah, they've always
Two
showed up.
countries.
Yeah,
Well, not us because we missed an Olympics.
yeah.
That is a hard one.
Yeah,
See,
one of them.
Germany?
One of them you should guess because it kind of originated there.
Oh, Greece.
Greece, okay, yeah. And the other one is
UK?
Australia.
Oh, Australia.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not even an Olympics.
Okay. You should know this one.
All right.
Which is the only American football team to go the whole season undefeated, including the Super Bowl?
Including the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it was a while back.
Dolphins?
Miami Dolphins, 1972.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Who won more tennis Grand Slams, Venus or Serena?
Serena.
Williams? Yep, Serena Williams.
Yeah.
Which basketball team has completed 2 three-peats?
The Bulls.
Bulls. And what's a three-peat? I didn't.
Winning 3 championships in a row. Michael
Okay,
Jordan.
okay, that's
he won 3, then he left, played baseball, came back, won 3 more.
Wow.
The Bulls.
That's
yes,
right.
for
I
sure.
remember that. Okay. Which former NBA player was nicknamed Agent Zero?
Gilbert Arenas.
Yeah. When
That's
did
a
he
hard
play?
one, BC.
When did he play?
Nobody watching this would know that.
Yeah.
He played like in the early 2000s.
Yeah. Because
Gilbert Arenas. That's a hard one.
I just looked up sports trivia. This is what came up. Okay. Which sport is dubbed the king of sports?
The king of sports?
The king of sports.
Huh. Is it an oddball sport?
No, but it's if you just think about it, it's the most popular world sport.
Soccer.
Yeah. Yep. Soccer.
The king of sports. I never heard it called
Yeah.
that before.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard it called the most popular sport. I mean, it is. It's played more than any other sport worldwide.
What is the name of the professional ice hockey team based in Toronto, Canada?
The Maple Leafs.
Yeah, Toronto Maple Leafs. Yeah, how would you like to be the mascot of the Maple Leafs?
You're just a big leaf. You dance around. I mean, if they paid you enough, it'd
Yeah,
probably be
yeah.
like that.
You'll know this one. Who was the first gymnast to score a perfect 10?
Nadia Comaneci?
Yep. And that's a little before your time, but I remember.
Oh, I've heard it.
I remember
times.
watching
Yeah.
her as a kid. I was like, it was crazy. I mean, I was more of a teenager when she was.
You know what's crazy? We used to talk about this all the time. If you put me and Johnny together in
Yeah.
the room and put us on like sports trivia, we
Yeah.
would destroy a lot of people. BC.
I'm sure you would. Okay, you'll know this. Dump, floater, and wipe are terms used in what team sport?
Dump, floater, dump,
Floater and wipe.
wipe, dump,
Yeah, maybe not. Volleyball.
dump, floater, wipe.
Yeah.
Is it volleyball?
Yeah.
Dump, like a dump shot.
I don't-
Floater
I don't know.
is a type of shot, but I don't know. I've never
what a
heard him
wipe
use the
is,
word
yeah.
wipe. A new term that that you heard a lot this year watching is in system.
In
Yeah.
system?
So EOU gets the ball in system, which means like they got a bump and a set and a spike with a chance for a kill. Out of system would be like where you have to give the other team a free ball. So like you save it and you end up having to send one over on a bump, not without a spike.
And that's what's called a what?
In system.
But what's the other one where you can't? Oh, I see.
Oh, a free ball. You're giving the other team a free ball.
So the in system is when you have total control of
Control the ball,
entirely.
yeah. And you bump, set, and then spike.
And-
but out of system is when you like bump, and then have to bump it over or
Yeah.
send it over after 2 hits.
Yeah.
That's a
Interesting.
new term that I kind of learned this year.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that was really interesting about watching volleyball, and I just have not watched that much of it, is that the ones that were hardest when they would get low into the net, when, let's say you have a block or something, you block a ball and it dribbles down the side.
Oh, yeah. Toughest ball to play is that ball right at the net, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
or you do somebody does a kill, a spike, and they get it so low. I mean, they get it, but it doesn't pop up. It pops right into the net.
Yep.
Yep.
Volleyball's a tough sport,
Yeah.
man. It
Yeah.
really is.
Okay, 2 more.
Okay.
Who was the first female driver to score points in the Grand Prix?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
This is old.
Yeah, it is.
This is old.
Lila Lombardi,
I would not have known
1975 Spanish Grand Prix.
that. Would have not have known that.
Okay, now this one you may or may not know. How many points did Michael Jackson score in his first NBA game?
Michael Jackson?
I'm
He
sorry,
never played
Michael
in an NBA
Jordan.
game. How many points did Jordan score in his first NBA game?
Yeah.
I'm going to guess. 31.
16.
16.
Yeah,
That's a tough one.
Yeah. And that, who did he
Johnny probably would have known that
who
one,
did he
though.
play for right out?
The Bulls.
Right out. He only played for the Bulls ever?
Well, he played for the Wizards at the end.
Oh, at the end of his thing, yeah.
But he played. He was drafted by the Bulls. Michael Jordan. Yep.
Yeah, and that was Barry Sanders. I mean, that was interesting. I mean, he
Lions,
did
his
his
whole
whole career in Lions. Yeah.
Yep. Terrible team too.
Yeah.
Just bad.
And that
Like,
the,
that work.
the documentary kind of covers about how they almost had a team that could support him and win, but then they got into financial trouble and stole some of their key players, and then he's all by himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but what an amazing runner. Yeah.
Oh, Barry. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was different. His just the way he could control his body was, one of a kind. He was one of a kind. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
All right, we got a TikTok now, so if you guys want to check it out, go to TikTok, EO Alive. That's all. You just search EO Alive and you'll find it. It's our logo. Give us a follow. We're testing it out. I'm posting reels on TikTok as well. Reels have been doing well for us, so that's been kind of the idea. We'll put the morning show reels on there, and then sports show reels, and just kind of testing the water with TikTok, seeing where we're at there. Let's
You want to get us out of here?
let's do it. On this day, December 7th, 1787, Delaware is the first state to ratify the United States Constitution. On this day in 1842, New York Philharmonic's first concert ever. 1842. 1869 on this day, Jesse James first confirmed bank robbery. He and his brother robbed a bank in Gallatin, Missouri. They shot the cashier in a revenge killing as well. 1869 on this day. 1941 on this day, The Imperial Japanese Navy with 353 planes attacks the U.S. fleet at Pearl Harbor Naval Base in Hawaii, killing 2,403 people on this day. 1963, the first use of instant replay machine invented by CBS is used in the U.S. Army versus Navy football game.
Really? Wow.
1963.
And that game's coming up this week, I think, next weekend.
1972 on this day, the Apollo 17 is launched. The final manned lunar landing mission, where the crew takes this famous picture right here. You know what that picture's called, BC? It's the most famous picture of the Earth ever taken from sky.
I don't know what's it called.
That picture. It's called the Blue Marble.
Blue Marble. I'll tell you an interesting story about that here in a minute.
2020 on this day, breaking, the competitive form of breakdancing, confirmed as an Olympic sport for the Paris 2024 games. So we're going to have breakdancing in the Olympics. That's awesome. I love breakdancing. And then on this day in 2020, Coca-Cola is named the world's #1 plastic polluter in Break Free from Plastic's annual brand audit. So the #1 polluter of plastic in the world is Coca-Cola. That's crazy.
Wow.
That's so crazy. The #1 movie on this day, December 7th, 1973, The Way We Were with Barbra Streisand and Robert Redford. He's probably my favorite actor ever.
Really?
Robert Redford. Yeah. I love The Natural, so The Natural is probably my favorite movie. Quote of the day comes from Paulo Coelho. The world is changed by your example, not by your opinion. One more time. The world is changed by your example, not by your opinion. Yeah, let's do that real fast before we leave. Let's show it.
Yeah.
BC went out the other day. As everybody knows that's watching, they're going to redo the grand staircase at EOU. BC went out and took a drone video of it. Here it is. Man, I used to live, this is on 9th Street, BC.
Right.
And I used to live 1 block over at the bottom of the hill on 8th. And so we spent a lot of time playing like kick the can in this neighborhood. And I've gone up and down those stairs hundreds of times.
When did they close it, I wonder, you know?
It wasn't closed when I was a kid. I know that.
Yeah.
I don't know what year they closed it.
No, super interesting. I had the company who's doing the reconstruction is called Garco Construction. They called me and they asked me to take some photos, some drone photos. Well, and so then while I was there taking those for them, then I took this drone video for us. And yeah, super cool. And so then a lot of questions of like, is it going to be restored? I mean, they are having to take out everything. They're not restoring it. They are rebuilding it. And so...
somebody did make a comment on that. You keep talking about it, and I'm going to pull that comment out.
And they, I guess, according to somebody who, it was Tim Seidel who they quoted.
Yeah, that's what I was pulling up.
That they did laser measurements of everything, and that they will, as much as possible, get it back to exactly like it is. But it has to be to code. Now, I don't know if that, I don't know what that means.
I don't
You know, if the code has changed, maybe the height of the steps or, you know, some of that stuff can change. But I'm sure that when they get done, it will look very much exactly like it does. So
the comments are funny though, and people are like, "Oh, we should be fixing the streets." Like, that's different money.
Well,
like,
yeah.
It has nothing to. This is money that the college, the city's not paying.
Well,
for
this isn't even in college. This is
it's a grant.
State. This is state money.
It's a grant.
Yeah. So the Oregon State has
probably
pots
some
of
historical money.
For historical restoration stuff, and this has been a project I know that Tim Seidel has been working on for years and years, you know. And so then the state has money that they hand out for these kinds of projects, and I mean, it seems like he's been talking them to, I don't know, I want to say 8 years.
Yeah.
About
it's
this.
not like we would have got to spend. They would have got to spend this money on the roads if they didn't spend it on the staircase.
No, and it is a significant. I mean, it's like $2 or $3 million. It's a
sure.
lot of money, but But the fact is that if it wasn't being spent here, it would not be coming into the Grand Run Valley.
Right. So we may as well get it. Like,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No. Yeah. Thanks, Benny, for
Yeah,
reminding
great
us.
video. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and thanks Benny for directing today. As you may or may not have known, Kyle and I are not interacting as much with the screens as what we have in the past because Benny is in the control room.
You trying to
rolling
set
videos and
him
stuff.
up? You trying to set Benny up? Like,
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to find the right button to get us out of here now, and he's going to get another reel
Yeah.
made about it.
Yeah. So anyhow, thanks you guys for being with us.
See you next week.
All right.